Good morning, good morning, good morning. Wow, what a day yesterday. It goes without saying that if you have commitment, focus, and sheer will, you can make it through the day. Welcome back to my channel today. Subscribe to it and give me 2 thumbs up to provide you with real time, real experience in the gig economy, especially with my apps, DoorDash, GrubHub, and Walmart Sparks, and letting you know all the tips and tricks of how I sustained myself for over 6 years being an independent solopreneur contractor doing this kind of lifestyle. Letting you know that I am pure testament that if I can do it, you can do it. And let's start off with what happened yesterday. And I think this is all over YouTube, that if you follow any of the other gig workers, that Walmart Sparks was actually down yesterday for about maybe 3 or 4 hours. So here I am starting early, thinking to myself, okay, let me turn on Walmart Sparks. Let me go and take a delivery. Okay, I think I did take a delivery early, and then all of a sudden, just went down. No deliveries were coming through whatsoever. So basically, I followed my own rules, and like I always teach you guys, what are those 3 rules? Target your market, have all 3 apps on at full strength, okay, and work your hours, whether they're 4 hours, 5 hours. This is going to come in very handy later on after I finish talking to you about this whole thing. The time, okay? Time is your ally, especially in situations when apps mess up. And boy, I tell you now, Walmart Sparks doesn't always mess up. Okay, they're a pretty good, dependable app. But like anything else with technology, technology is created by man and man is fallible. So obviously technology is going to mess up. Okay, so basically yesterday I followed my 3 rules. I was in my market. I was working the hours, and I had all 3 apps on at full strength. Okay, that's my formula. Okay, so I'm not driving all over the place. So I have a level of discipline by working my hours and by making sure that I am optimizing every hour on the hour with all 3 apps. And for some reason, Sparks was down yesterday. It was not working. Probably there was something wrong with the app itself. Probably it was something internal. Most of the drivers are all waiting at their spots and getting nothing. I kept calling Walmart Sparks to find out what was going on. The whole time was over 20 minutes long. Okay? 20 minutes long. Bear in mind, 1 app. Okay? This is why I call my channel the Multi-App Hustler, because I am teaching you how to maximize your time when any of this happens. Okay? Now, when you're talking about 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours down, okay, that hurts. Money is emotional. I don't got to tell you that, okay? So here I am thinking to myself, okay, well, I'm into my market. I have all 3 apps on at full strength, and I'm working my time. So those are my disciplines. Those are my disciplines. You have to have disciplines. You have to have structure. You have to have strategy in ups as well as downs. Okay? So I figured, okay, let me just turn on DoorDash. Let me just turn on GrubHub. Obviously, Walmart Sparks will come back up because they are a very profitable company. You know that when they're down, yes, I'm losing money, but they're also losing money as well, too. So they're not going to stay down for very long. Whether it's DoorDash, GrubHub, or Walmart Sparks, they want to be active because they're losing billions, especially if it's profitable. But you, as an independent contractor, you as a solopreneur, have to be strategic. So I figured, okay, let me just turn on DoorDash. I'm in the market. I'm doing very well. I'm in my area. I'm following my strategies. Thank God I started taking stuff from DoorDash. DoorDash saved my butt yesterday. This is the essence of multi-apping. This is the essence of actually being able to increase your earnings and keep it going, even in spite of certain situations, even if one app is down. Now, the probability of 3 apps being down is very, very high. But when you have one app down, especially one that you depend on so much, it can get very emotional. This is why you have 2 other apps. Now, you know that most of the times these apps won't stay down because they make profitability, they make money. Okay? So you as an independent contractor, you as a person that's out there by yourself, have to stay in your head knowing and realizing that eventually it's going to come back up. It's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. It's just going to be down. You keep them on in the background. You can keep calling customer service. You can stay on top of it to make sure that they're going to work for the day. But while you're doing that, you have to generate income. DoorDash made up, no lie, about 50% of my income yesterday while Sparks was down. I was so proud of myself. And you should be proud of yourself too if you can multi-app. Because that's the only thing you can control, is multi-apping. That is the only thing that you can control, is the start time and the end time. That is the only thing that you can control working in a market that's strong. And I said to myself, and I kept saying it to myself constantly, because you got to keep talking to yourself in your head, you know, let me follow what I preach on my channel, what I teach other people. Let me just turn on DoorDash. Let me just sit there. It was tough. I'm not going to lie to you. It was tough. Okay? Because I know there are people out there that are just working DoorDash by themselves, and it's not as lucrative as Walmart Sparks. Not as lucrative. But I had both DoorDash and GrubHub on, and both of them were working in the background while I waited for Walmart Sparks to come up. I still stayed in touch with them to make sure, hey, what's going on, what's happening, and all that stuff. And I also provided YouTube content yesterday for you guys, so I kept my dead time working for me, okay? Trying to keep my head in the right space. But the most important thing that I realized yesterday, after the day was over, is the time. I could have thrown in the towel and said, screw this, let me just take a day off, but I didn't want to. I figured, well, I still had 2 more apps. And even though I was grinding it out with DoorDash because they were sending such horrible offers and it was very slow, I figured I have time on my side. Don't throw in the towel just yet. Keep going. If I have a start time and an end time, which I can control, keep working the time. Work the time and you'll be fine. And that's what I did. I kept going. Even though everything inside my head told me straight out, you know what, just take the day off. No. Keep going. The only discipline you have is the hours that you work. See, versus a regular job when you have a boss and you got to show up, or if you have a salary, or if you have an hourly rate, you have to show up to make that money. If not, you get yelled at. If not, you get fired or reprimanded, okay? But when you're an independent contractor, you have to have certain levels of discipline in place, and you got to stick to them. That's why you always have work-life balance, to make sure that when you have your days off, you stick to your days off. But when you know you're out there and you're facing a challenge like I faced yesterday, which was horrendous, mentally and emotionally, I held on to time. Time is your ally. It is your friend. If you commit to working from one time to the next, you stick to that. Do not break that commitment to yourself. You stick to the time. Work the time and you'll be fine, no matter what. Because anything that happens between 1 hour to the end hour is the challenge. So at about 5 o'clock last night, after so many hours of it being down, Walmart Sparks, it finally came back up. But DoorDash, tried and true, and people can knock DoorDash any way they want, and that's fine. That's fine. That's your reality. My reality is different than your reality, and I respect that, okay? But I know what saved my butt yesterday. Multi-apping and using DoorDash. Staying in the right market and working the time. It's a combination of everything. And I still made above average income yesterday. Though it was emotionally and mentally frustrating, you have to look at the structure and the strategies you have. When you know what strategies you have and what structures you have, it will help to maintain your balance and your emotions. Okay? It will keep you going so you don't give up. You don't give up. If I had given up yesterday, I would have probably have ended up with maybe a lot less money. But I kept going because that's the time that I have for the day. Those are my work hours. So you got to keep yourself going and you don't stop. And I turned out very well. And I ended the day with a good above average day. Sparks came back up. Jumped out of DoorDash right into Sparks. Got in there. Started taking offers. Even though each of the stores were very slow, I still ended up with close enough to the number that I wanted to hit for the day for a bad day. And the hours that I worked, 8 hours. I worked 9 hours yesterday. I wanted to work 8, but I kept going, so I worked 9. This is why it's important to focus on the time, not the money. The money will come as a byproduct of the time. If you have this number over your head of the dollar amount you want to make, you're going to drive yourself nuts. It's good to have a dollar amount, but it's not holy because that dollar amount fluctuates all the time. But if you work the time, if you say, I'm going to work 8 hours, I'm going to work 9 hours, I'm going to work 10 hours. There are people out there that work 18 hours. I can't imagine how much money they make. But man, it's a lot of hours. But if you work the time, you'll be fine. Because at the end of the day, doesn't matter how you start, only matters how you end. At the end, whatever money you made for that day is what you made. That's it. That's it. And normally as I follow that structure, it helps me mentally and emotionally on the road. I basically have a gauge of how many hours I know I can work. But in that moment, when you have these issues and you have these problems and you have these struggles that happen, and trust me, they will. Delays at the stores, apps dropping, times that were slow. I noticed there were a lot of slow times yesterday with DoorDash. But I look at the time, I look at the clock, and I say, okay, well, I got 4 hours. I could do something with these 4 hours. Let me keep going. Let me just keep going. And it worked. I turned a dark day, a almost not profitable day, into a profitable day. And why? Because I multi-apped. If it was just one app, do you know how much money I would not have made yesterday? Remember, these apps don't care about you, okay? You have to respect the power of the apps and know how to use them very well. So they make you money, okay? You gotta know how to respect your time, you gotta know how to respect your market, and you gotta know how to respect the apps. That is the only way you're gonna do very well. But if you're going to cut yourself short and say, let me cut today because, I didn't do, they're still down. They're not going to come up. Well, then you're throwing in the towel and you're going to hurt your pocket. I'm sorry, but I did not hurt my pocket at all. I stayed out there. I multi-apped the shit out of DoorDash and GrubHub. I took advantage of the Mac. I squeezed that market as much as I possibly can. And I was rewarded by Sparks coming back up. And I ended up with an above average day. Do not give up on yourself. This will test you sometimes. But if you have time as your ally, and you have time as your friend, and you have a start time and an end time, and you work those hours, you did your best. And if the day turns out bad, hey, you got the next day. But at least you did your best. And your best was good enough. So always follow that structure. It works. Trust me, it works. Okay? I've been doing it for 6 years. That's why I'm giving this to you in real time right now. And if you love my channel, please subscribe to it. Give me 2 thumbs up. Give me likes on the comments. And if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to comment me and I'll be there to answer any questions for you. Let's keep this group supportive and positive. Look, some of these apps are going to be for you and some of them are not. And that's understandable. Okay? But the main thing is you and you know how much money you have to make. Okay? And you can keep yourself going. I believe in you. Have a great day.